with less than 3 weeks left until the local elections, the main political parties have announced their election pledges. For more details, we have our National Assembly correspondent An Sung-jin with us in the studio. Welcome, Sung-jin.
My pleasure to be here, Soo-jin.
Right, so the National Election Commission has released election pledges for both the ruling and the main opposition parties. So let's start with the ruling party. So what were some of their key election pledges?
So the two words regional development, that's what the ruling Democratic Party has been emphasizing for its election campaign, announcing balanced national development as its top campaign pledge. What this entails is strengthening local governments and reducing economic concentration in the capital area. Now, key proposals include completing their mega district initiative, which includes a 5 mega regions, 3 special autonomous provinces framework aimed at boosting region-led growth while expanding fiscal authority and autonomy for local governments. The party also outlined broader economic and social initiatives, including fostering advanced industries such as AI and biotechnology and supporting youth employment. Additional pledges include expanding childcare and easing the financial burden that households face amid inflation and currency volatility. The party also pledged to move forward with plans to establish Sejong as the nation's administrative capital by building a National Assembly branch office and a presidential office there during its administration. The DP said it would push legal and institutional reforms with major budget measures reflected from the 2027 fiscal year.
All right, then what about the main opposition party? What have they unveiled as their main election pledge?
Right, so for them, solving housing crisis is the main message for the main opposition People Power Party. So unlike the DP's regional development, the PPP has made housing stability and economic deregulation its top election pledge to address the housing crisis. The party proposed expanding the so-called half-price 전세 housing in Seoul and surrounding metropolitan areas, which entails offering long-term leased housing at roughly 50% of market rates while providing broader tax benefits for renters. To increase housing supply, it promised to ease redevelopment and reconstruction regulations. Now, the PPP further emphasized industrial growth, including incentives to encourage overseas Korean companies to relocate production back home in what it calls a Korea Inflation Reduction Act. Pledges focused on young adults include expanded rent support and extended tax cuts for young workers employed at small and medium-sized enterprises. The party also proposed measures aimed at boosting disposable income for workers, including indexing income, tax brackets to inflation, expanding education-related tax deductions, and introducing more flexible dividend payment systems.
I see. So how is the rest of the election schedule expected to unfold?
Right, so following the 2-day official registration period, which just ended on Friday, official campaigning will begin on May 21st and last for 13 days. Now, during this period, candidates will take part in street rallies, televised debates, and policy-focused events aimed at persuading undecided voters. Early voting is scheduled for May 29th and 30th, allowing voters to cast ballots anywhere in the country with valid identification. The main election will take place on June 3rd, with vote counting beginning immediately after polls close. The competing pledges highlight a clear divide in priorities, and as both parties unveil ambitious policy agendas, we will have to keep an eye on where voters will weigh in as campaigning intensifies in the upcoming weeks.
So I guess it looks like the next few weeks will be very critical. So thank you so much for your coverage today, Sung-jin.
Thanks for having me, Soo-jin.